John of Austria, February 24, 1547, October 1, 1578, in English traditionally known as Don John of Austria, in Spanish as Don Juan de Austria and in German as Ritter Johann von Oesterreich, was an illegitimate son of Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. He became a military leader in the service of his half-brother, King Philip II of Spain, and is best known for his naval victory at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571 against the Ottoman Empire. Born in the free imperial city of Regensburg, Upper Palatinate, and raised in Spain, he was the progeny of a liaison between Emperor Charles V and Barbara Blomberg, a burgher's daughter and singer. Barbara was promptly married to Hieronymus Kedel, a court functionary in Brussels, and her child became known as Jeromen. Before he turned 3, Jeromen was taken from his mother and put in the care of an old friend of Charles, Adrian de Bois, who, in council with his wife, placed the child as theirs, under a Belgian court musician, Franz Massey, and his Spanish wife, Anita Medina. Given money for their travel and his keep, they took him to Spain and settled in 1550 at Leganés, her village just outside Madrid, where Jeromen learned Spanish and played with village boys, starting basic school with the priest at nearby Getafe. When Jeromen turned 7, by order of his father, the emperor, a courtier took him from his now widowed foster mother to the castle of Charles Major Domo, Don Luis de Quillada, in Villagarcia de Campos not far from Valladolid. Quillada's wife, Dona Madalena de Loa, took charge of Jeromen, grooming him in her household, where he was given a solid curriculum of studies including Latin and French in addition to Spanish, his first language. When Charles abdicated his Spanish crowns in 1556, he retired from Brussels to the remote monastery of Yuste in Spain. There he summoned Don Luis de Quillada to return as Major Domo. In the summer of 1558, Quillada brought Madalena and Jeromen to Yuste, where Charles, on several occasions before his death that September, saw his son, now a youth of 11. In a codicil to his will, Charles had made provision for Jeromen, and expressed hope that he would enter the clergy and pursue an ecclesiastical career. Charles' son and heir, Philip II of Spain, returned from Brussels in 1559, aware of his father's will. Settled in Valladolid, he summoned Quillada to bring Jeromen to a hunt. When Philip appeared, Quillada told Jeromen to dismount and make proper obeisance to his king. When Jeromen did so, Philip asked him if he knew the identity of his father. When the boy did not know, Philip embraced him and explained that they had the same father and thus were brothers. Philip, however, was strict regarding protocol. Jeromen was not to be addressed as Highness, the form reserved for royals and sovereign princes. In formal style he was Your Excellency, the address used for a Spanish grandee, and known as Don Juan de Austria. Don John did not live in a royal palace, but maintained a separate household with Luis Quillada now heading his service. Philip allowed Don John the incomes allocated to him by Charles so that he might maintain the status proper to the son of an emperor and brother of a king. In public ceremonies, Don John stood, walked or rode behind the royal family, but ahead of the grandees. Philip's new queen, Elizabeth of Valois, was only a year older than Juan, and his ill-fated son by his first marriage, Don Carlos, only 2 years older. Often in the company of the lively young set was Don John's half-sister Joan, Princess of Portugal, a dozen years his senior. At the baptisms of his nieces, Elizabeth's daughters, Isabella Clara Eugenia and Catherine Michelle, It was Don John who carried the infants to the baptismal font. During and after the Battle of Lepanto, Don John was addressed in letters and in person as Highness and Prince. Philip, following the directions of Charles V, sent Don John to the Complutense University in the company of Don Carlos and Alessandro Farnese, Prince of Parma and son of Charles V's other acknowledged illegitimate child, Margaret of Austria, Duchess of Parma, 1522–86. This was meant to be a preparation for Don John's ecclesiastical career. At Alcala in 1562, Carlos suffered a fractured skull that had a deleterious effect on his personality. In 1565, Farnese left to be married in Brussels, where his mother was regent of Belgica Regia. From Farnese, Don John is said to have learned womanizing and, in time, acknowledged two illegitimate daughters, one in Spain, the other in Naples.